Let's continue from where we stopped in our last video on sort. Today we want to look at the meaning of sort, rules of sort, then simplification of sort, then basic forms of sorts. So what is the meaning of sort? Remember in our previous video, I explained two types of numbers, which are rational numbers and irrational numbers. And I define rational numbers as those numbers which can be expressed as a ratio of two integers. And I also define what irrational number as those numbers which cannot be expressed as a ratio of two integers. So I also gave an examples. So here, what do we mean by sort? All irrational numbers are what we call sort. So sort are what? Irrational number. Irrational numbers are what we call what? Sort. Example, we have root 2, root 3, root 5, root 6, root 7, root 8, root 10. All these numbers, etc., are what we call what? Sorts. So we can say that sort are those numbers which cannot be expressed as a ratio of what? Two integers. So that is the simple meaning of what? Sort. So let's look at the rules of sort. The next one is what? Rules of sort. You know, every topic in mathematics have rules. So rules of what? Of sort. We have number one. Let me do it this way. Number one is that square root of p multiplied by q is the same thing as saying square root of what? P multiplied by square root of q. So number two rules is square root of p divided by q is the same thing as saying square root of p divided by square root of what? Of q. So also note this, notes very important, that square root of p plus square root of q is not equals to root p plus q. Take note of this. Square root of p plus square root of q is not equals to what? So if you write this, you are wrong. So these are the two rules of what? Of sort. And we are going to use this to simplify what? Sort. So the next thing that we want to look at is what? Is the simplification of sort. Let's look at the simplification of sort. Simplification of sort. Let's see this one. It's very, very simple. Whenever we are talking about simplification of sort, it means when you are adding two sorts together, how can you simplify it? Or when you are having a single sort and the sort is not in basic form, which I'm going to explain it together with simplification of sort. A sort is said to be in its basic form if it cannot be broken into any simpler form. Look at this. If you have root 3, this is what? This is in basic form. This is what we are talking about, basic form, because you cannot break this 3 down into, you cannot split the 3 into any other form. But if you have root 8, if you have what? Root 8, what can you do from here? Root 8 here, you can do what? You can simplify root 8 because you have two numbers and one of the numbers is a perfect square. That is 4 times 2. 4 there is a perfect square and 2 is not a perfect square. So from here we can do what? We can simplify root 8. So this one now is going to give us root 2 times what? 8. Oh, sorry, 2 times 4, which is the same thing as 8. So remember, this one we can split from this rule. So you can have that root 2 multiplied by root 4, right? Okay, square root of 4 is what? That is 2 root 2. So now we can say that this guy is in basic form because we cannot break it down again than this. So this is a basic form of what? of root 8. So if you are asked to take root 8 to its basic form, it means that you should break it down to this form. But if you are asked to take root 3 to its basic form, it is already in basic form, because from here you cannot find two numbers such that you cannot find two numbers such that one of the number will be what, perfect square, and the other one will not be a perfect square. When you multiply, you have what? You have root 3. So you cannot break this one down than this. But how about this one? If you have 18, remember all these things that we are doing, this is simplification. You simplify this to what? Basic form. How about root 18? You look at root 18, we have two factors, and one of the factors is what? Is a perfect square, the other one is not, which means that root 18 is not in a basic form. We can break down, we can take root 18 to its basic form by finding those two numbers, one a perfect square and the other one is not a perfect square. When we multiply, we have what? 18. So those two numbers are what? That is root 2 multiplied by 9, because 2 times 9 will give you what? 18. And 9 here is what? Is a perfect square. So from here we can split root 2 multiplied by root 9, right? So square root of 9 is what? Is 3. So sort 2. You can see. So it means that the basic form of 18 of root 18 is 3 root 2. So here now you cannot break this down. That's why I said that a sort is said to be in its basic form if it cannot be broken into any simpler form than this, like what we have here. It's very, very simple. So this one now, we have this one now. So the next thing is we are going to look at addition and subtraction of sort. Addition, sort. Remember all these things that we are doing, these are what? Simplification. Let me show you another one. Okay, let me use another example. If you have root 18, if you are asked to simplify root 82, it simply means that you take this guy to what? Basic form. A form whereby you cannot break it down than that. So this one now, we are going to find two numbers such that one is a perfect square, the other one is not a perfect square. When you multiply these two numbers together, you still have what? 32. So for this one now, for 32, we are going to have what? 2 times what? 2 times 16, because 2 times 16 will give you what? 32. And 16 is what? 16 is a perfect square. So what do? We have this root 2 multiplied by root 16. So what is the square root of 16? That is 4 root 2. So this one now we can say that this is a basic form of what? Root 32. Very simple. So how about you have something like this? How about you have this one? Root 125. So if you are asked to simplify this, it simply means that you should take it back, or that you should take it to its basic form. So this one is going to be root what? 5 times 25. So from here we have what? 5 root 5. So the basic form of root 125 is what? 5 root 5. Very simple. So all these things that we are doing is what? That is simplification. But now let's look at what? Addition and subtraction of what? Sort. Addition and subtraction of sort. Addition and subtraction of sort. Addition and subtraction of sort. So this one, before I move on to bring in examples, there is what I want you to understand. There is what we call similar sort. For example, take for instance, you have 2 root 2 and 3 root what? 2. This is what we mean by similar sort. This is sort 2, right? This is sort 2. So it means that they are what? Similar. So whenever you are adding or subtracting a similar sort, you can add them together or subtract them together. So that is what it means. So any place you have a similar sort, so something like this. Let me give you an example. You have 2 root 5 and root 5. This is root 5, this is root 5. This one is 2 root 5, this one is what? 1 root 5. So if you are solving or adding them, you can add them together or subtract them together. So this is what we call what similar sort. So let's proceed. So let's simplify this. Simplified root 8 plus root 18. What is the answer? Simplified root 8 plus root 18. What is the answer? This is what we are going to do. Find two numbers such that one will be a perfect square and the other one will not be a perfect square. When you multiply, you have what? 8. The same thing with this. So when the two number for here is what? 2 and 4. Plus for 18 is what? 2 and 9. 2 times 9. So what next do we do? Find the square root of, remember we can split this. We can write this as a root 2. I want you to understand. Root 4 plus root 2 multiplied by root 9. So here square root of 4 is what? That is 2 root 2 plus square root of 9 is what? That is 3 root 2. If you look at this is root 2, this is root 2. So these are what? Similar sort. We can do what? We can add them together. So 2 plus 3, that is what? That will give us 5. Then pick one of the similar sort, that is root 2. And this is the answer to this. Very simple. Now let's look at another example. Let me show you another example. How about we have something like this? How about we have something like this? But I now ask you to simplify roots. 72 plus root 125 plus, or let me say minus root 18. I have to simplify this. Root 72 plus root 125 minus root 18. What do we do? This is what let's see this. Remember that here we can find two numbers and one of the number must be a perfect square, right? So this is going to be what? 2 times 36 plus this one is going to be what? So it's going to be 5 times 25 minus this one is going to be 2 times 9. All right, so we can split. We have root 2. I want you to understand. Root 36 plus root 5 multiplied by root 25 minus root 2 multiplied by root 9. What next do we do? Square root of 36 is what? That is 6 root 2 plus square root of 25, that is 5 sort 5. Okay? So this one become is minus 3 root 2. So look at this one. This one now, this is 6 root 2. This is minus 3 root 2. This is root 2. This is root 2. That means they are what? Similar. Similar sort. So we can do what? This one is a subtraction. So 6 minus 3 is going to give us 3 sort 2 plus 5 sort 5. Remember that we cannot add this one because if you look at this one, this is sort 2, this is sort 5. So they are not similar. So in this case, we stop here. So this is the answer to this one. Very, very simple. That is it. So this is how you will use, and this is how you solve anything similar to this. It is very, very simple. So let me take the last example. Then we stop here for today. Let's see the last example that we have for today. Let me give you another one. If I give you something like this, what is going to happen? Can you solve this one? I now ask you to evaluate the root 200 plus root 75 plus let me say negative. Okay, let me put plus root 50. Let's see what is going to happen. All right, for 200, remember that 2 times 100 is going to give us 200, and 100 is a perfect square, right? So we have 2 times 100 plus root. This is going to be what? For you to have this, that will be what? 5. For you to have a 75, that will be what? 3 times 5. 3 times 25, right? plus root, for this one now, that will be 2 times 25. All right, so let's see. So here now, square root of 100 is 10, root 2, plus square root of 25 is 5, root 3, plus square root of 25 is 5, root 2. All right, so look at, we have similar sort. Root 2 and root 2, we can do what we can add. So we have 10 plus this, that is 15, root 2, plus 5, root 3. This is root 3, this is root 2. So they are not similar, so we can stop here. Abi. So that is it. Very, very simple. So this is where we are going to stop in today's class. In our next video, I'm going to explain other concept of what sort. I'm going to look at them again, because this is not the end of this video. Please, if this is the first time that you come across my video, click on the follow button or on the subscriber button for more exciting video. Bye bye.